Hey everybody, Mrs. Bianchi. We're looking at number one. Zach is buying a new gaming system. He has saved $24 toward the system. This is 15% of the total amount he needs. Select the two methods that correctly determine the total cost of the gaming system. Now, I think our best strategy here is just let's ignore the answer choices and let's ask ourselves if we were going to actually find the answer, what would we do? To organize our thinking, I think we should create a double tape diagram. In class, we've been talking about how we want to make one of the bars be talking about percent. So how about we have the bottom bar be talking about percent? When you have all of something, you have 100%. And let's have the top bar be talking about dollars. So once you've established that, then you need to reread it a second or a third time and see what you can map out on our tape diagram. Let's map out this part. So they give this percent, 15%. 15% would be not very much, maybe about like that amount, 15%. Now we need a label. Now we're also going to need to get the dollar amount that matches that. So let's look back and see if we can figure out a label because we'd want to write that underneath. He has saved $24 toward the system. This is 15% of the total amount he needs. So let's put this here because it's saying $24 is 15%. So these two things would be equivalent, right? Is means that they're equal to each other. Now, what does that imply about this chunk over here? Because if you have everything you need, you have 100%. So there's how much he has, which is a part, right? And then there's more money that he's going to be needing. He'll need more money, and then there'll be the total amount. So let's examine how we might set up a proportion with the numbers that we have in this double tape diagram. Whenever we do proportions, it's always a good idea to label it as parts and wholes. So 15% means 15 out of 100. The part is 15 and the whole would be 100. Now the question that a lot of sixth graders have a hard time answering, where would I put the 24? Is it the part? Is it the whole? Well, it would be the part. And we're trying to figure out the whole. Now, if we look at the answer choices and see, are there any choices here that kind of match what I have here? If you look at choice B, 15 over 100, they have 15 over 100. Equals 24 over some number, they have 24 over some number. So B should be an obvious choice. Now, to figure out the remaining one, because it does say select two, that's a little bit harder to do. How I propose we should figure out which is the other choice that we should pick. Let's go ahead and answer this question. Let's, in other words, solve the proportion, because we already know B is one of the ones we're going to pick. Now, if we simplify this by dividing by 5, that's going to be 3. This divided by 5 would be 20. So we have a 3 to 20 ratio. Now, if we take advantage of the fact that 3 is a factor of 24, wouldn't we be multiplying 3 times 8 to get 24? And if we do this times 8, that would give us the whole. Just 2 times 8 would be 100. It would be 16. If we put the 0 on it, would be 160. So the total amount would have to be 160. Now, what we would want to ask ourselves, would any of these other choices, if we were to actually do the math, would we get this 160, which we know to be the answer? So let's look at choice A. They give us 15 hundredths times 24. So just to speed things up, how about we use a calculator? And we'll multiply the two numbers together. We're going to multiply this, 15 hundredths, times this, 24. And what do we get? We get this number. We get 3 6/10. Is that the same thing as this? No, it is not. So therefore, we will not be picking choice A. Let's look at choice C. Choice C says 15 times 24. Let's multiply 15 times 24, and let's see what we get. We get 360. Does this number match this number? No, it does not. So it doesn't look like we're going to pick choice C. Now, let's look at choice E. Are the numbers in the wrong spot? And if we were to solve for this, would we get 160? So let's say you're not sure. If you're not sure, let's set up the proportion. 15 over 24. Let's simplify that. Divide by 3 and get 5. Divide by 3 and get 8. And they have the 100 on the bottom, so is that if we solve this, are we going to get this number? Now, 8's not compatible with 100, so to solve this, we would have to use cross products. So this cross product would be 500. The other cross product would be 8 times p. And to solve this, we would have to divide both sides of the equation by 8 to get what the p equals. Let's examine what 500, that's this number, divided by, that's what the fraction bar is, 8. 500 divided by 8 equals. And we get 62 and 5/10 for our solution for x. Is this number match what we got here? No, it does not. So it doesn't look like we're going to pick choice E. So it looks like we're going to end up picking D, but let's make sure that that's correct. And I'm not really a fan of how this is presented, and there's a number of ways you can think of this. But let me move the calculator out of the way. And let's just use, they have this as a percent to cost ratio. So if we set up as a percent to cost ratio, and we take either one of these, because there's this ratio and there's this ratio, and they are equivalent. This divided by 3 gives you this. This divided by 3 gives you this. So this is a little more user-friendly. Let's use this one. It's a 5 to 8 ratio. So 5% for every $8, right? So this is dollars and this is percent. Now, if we set it up where we know all of it is 100%, and we put the percent on top just because the way this proportion is set up, the top's talking about percent and the bottom's talking about dollars, would we get 160 if we solve this for the cost? So let's look at our cross products, because actually we could probably take advantage of the fact that 5 times something does equal 100. That'll probably be a little bit faster. So since 5 times 20 does equal 100, if we take 8 and multiply it by 20, the question is, would that give us $160? Now let's say you're saying to yourself, it would. Then that would confirm that choice D would be another way, that would be the other method of determining the cost of the gaming system. All right, hopefully you found this video helpful.